welcome back to my channel. My name's Helen and today I'm going to be doing my Eurovisionathon announcement. This is a readathon that I created in 2020 because I love Eurovision. That year Eurovision wasn't on because of COVID, so we ran it slightly differently. Then we ran it again last year when the contest started up again. And I think the first year we had 25 people take part. Then last year we had 85 people sign up. So far I put the announcement up on Saturday morning and I think we've got 22 so far this time. But I've always said, excuse me, anybody besides me is a bonus. I just love doing this readathon. It's a really easy concept. There are 40 countries in Eurovision this year, or at least listed at the beginning. And so the job is to read as many books related to those 40 countries as you can. And then on the night of Eurovision Song Contest, whatever the countries that you have read win in the points, you get as points in the readathon. So for example, if you get the UK and we get 500 points, that's the dream, and you've read for the UK, then for that book, reading that book, you would get 500 points, and so on with the rest of the countries. Last year we had 2 people who read all of the countries. I think were there 38 or 40 last year, I can't remember, but we had 2 people who read all of those books, and so they got all of the points. And yeah, it was just a really lovely community feel. Particularly last year we did more with it, so on the actual night I set up a Twitter private messaging group and we sat and watched it together and everybody had a chat. Unfortunately this year I cannot watch the actual song contest, which I'm gutted about, but we've been invited to a wedding, which is very lovely, and totally didn't think, and I would not cancel a family friend wedding for Eurovision. That would be not a very kind thing to do, but yeah, they clash, so I'm not going to be able to watch the actual contest, and I'm certainly not going to be leaving the wedding early to go and watch it. So I'm still going to set up the chat in the Discord, and we'll be watching the comments every so often, but I will be watching this year, which is a shame. But yeah, so that is the basic premise. I will put a little image up here that the official Eurovision Song Contest have put of all the 40 countries that are taking part. In that image is Russia. Obviously Russia, for obvious reasons, have been taken out of Eurovision, so don't read for Russia unless you want to read a Russian book, and that's up to you, but you won't get points for that because they're not taking part. So there are 40 countries, and I will put that image up here, and then you can print that off. I will link it in the description below. You can print it off, cut out the pictures and use that for your reading journal or to keep a list. This was mine last year. I used the official one and cut out the countries, and then these highlighted ones, the ones that I read. We had some lovely spreads last year, some lovely TBRs. I'm looking forward to see that this time. But yeah, it runs from, I feel like I've skated around everything here. It runs from the 16th of April to the 14th of May. So the 16th of April, wherever you are, whatever time your day starts, that's the start of the readathon. You start by going through the countries and reading as many as you can, like I've said. And then it finishes on the 14th of May at the start of the Eurovisionathon, the Eurovision Song Contest in your country. So 7:30 in my time zone is, I think, is when it's on the television, and that's the start of the contest. And so what I mean is, every year, as soon as 7:30 hits in the UK and the Eurovision Song Contest is on the telly, I do the cut-off, and no books after that get accepted. So I will try and have a look what the different times of when that cut-off will be where you are. But 7:30 UK time, or whatever time the Eurovision Song Contest starts on the TV, is when the cut-off is. So no books will be counted after that. Last year we did have a page count where you couldn't read any books under 100 pages. This year I'm not going to say that, because I don't want to exclude people, but at the same time, you know, try and enter the spirit. Try not to read a lot of children's picture books in order to just finish as many countries as you can. But at the same time, if you read a book that's 99 pages, I'm not going to say, no, that doesn't count. It just makes it easier for everybody involved, including myself. The sign up form is up now. You can sign up for the readathon now. And on the maybe the day before, just so it's up ready. My husband is the joint, he's not the host, but he's the joint host, if you like. He does all the background stuff, including the sign up form, all the spreadsheets for when people read a book and send it through on the read a book form. Each time you read a book, you put it in on this form, and then a spreadsheet is produced, and I can see all the details. He's set up lots of different formulas, so at the end of each week of the readathon, I can say who's got the most points, how many countries we've all read together, how many pages have been read all together, and it's just nice to be able to do that at the end of every week. And so yeah, it's fun. There is a competition element because I do like, oh, these are the top 5 this week, but it's never felt overly competitive. Everybody can enjoy it. I've never reached the full amount of books. I would certainly not be able to read 40 this year. I think last year I managed 24, the year before I managed 22, and that is a lot for me. At the minute I'm in a real reading slump, and I am averaging 6 books a month, whereas I used to be able to read about 15 a month. There's no issue with that. I actually feel like I'll enjoy my books more if I just take my time. So I'm going to aim for 10 books in Eurovision and hope that those countries make it to the final. That is, at the beginning you've got the list of 40 of all the countries that want to take part in Eurovision. Then there's 2 semi-finals during that last week before the Eurovision Song Contest. So they all compete against each other to get into the actual final. So with your books, you'll read blindly, or you might look at the betting odds, or you might listen to the songs and decide which are your favourite and read based on that. But once those semi-finals have happened, some countries will not make it to the final of Eurovision. And in that case, if you've read books for those countries that have not made it to the final, you will get no points for those books. It makes it a lot more interesting. It makes it a lot more fun. But sometimes then in that last few days, there then is a rush to try and read books that you know are in the final that you haven't got round to yet. And it just gives it that little element. Like I say, during COVID 2020, we couldn't do it this way because there was no Eurovision Song Contest, so we used the scoreboard from 2019 and we read as many books as we could from the 2019 final, and then you just got the points for the books that you read, and you knew what you were getting because the scoreboard was already there and you knew what they'd got in the final. But I feel like this element, it's like, oh, just try and pick countries that you think will get through, and then some will go and you'll get no points, and then you have to try and read a few more to get a few more points. So yeah, I think that covers all of it. We've got a Twitter at Eurovisionathon. I haven't got a specific Instagram Eurovisionathon page. It's just mine. However, there is a hashtag for Eurovisionathon on there, so if you want to see people's past books and things, hashtag Eurovisionathon on Twitter and on Instagram will bring up a lot of stuff. At the minute, I'm in the middle of the 40-day countdown for Eurovisionathon. We're up to day 25, I think, today, and it's Malta. So you will see that today it says day 25, and then there'll be a few books for Malta that have been read in the past. And then I always put at the bottom, can you think of any books? And then people will list below books they can think of for Malta. So go back over the 40-day readathon. I started with Ukraine and worked my way back up alphabetically. I will do the UK on the last day, but I think, there's so many books for the UK that I think people won't struggle to find any. But I still will do one for people who don't live in the UK. I'll just do a selection because that quite often is the country that we get the most books read for because there are so many readily available. It is, I think people like the challenge with Eurovisionathon of trying to find books for Azerbaijan, for North Macedonia, for Moldova, for Slovenia. It's trying to find different books and ones that you fancy, because quite often I'll find a lot of obscure books for different countries, but there's might be elements of those books that I don't fancy, and so there's that extra challenge of thinking, well, I don't want to read a book for just reading its sake for the country, which I have done before. I want to read ones that really interest me. In the past, I have, for those particular months, signed up to Scribd and Kindle Unlimited because there's a lot of self-published books that you can find for those countries. I've always found quite obscure books on Scribd and on Kindle Unlimited for those. This isn't sponsored by them. I've just done that in the past. I may do it this year, but as I feel like I'm only going to read 10 books and I've got a few listed that I'm going to try for, at the end of my shelf here are some of my Eurovisionathon books ready that I've picked up for past ones and never got round to. We also have a Eurovisionathon book club, and we've had books that we've picked for those over the last, say, 6 or 7 months, and a couple of those I haven't got round to, so they're ready to possibly read for Eurovisionathon. If you are struggling for a country, put it on the hashtag on Twitter, on Instagram, or contact me and I will give you a list of books that people have read last year or the year before for that country. But people are really friendly in the Eurovisionathon community. They will give you suggestions, and let us know books that you've picked or have read before, so that they can use those. I am going to do a TBR, hopefully film it today or tomorrow, to let you know. Last year I did do a TBR and I did all the, I can't remember, was the 40 last year? 38 sticking in my head, but I don't know why. Say there was 40 last year. I did a TBR last year of all 40 books I was going to read if I got round to each country. I may do that again this time, but as I'm only aiming for 10, I don't know, I might just do the ones I'm thinking I might read. I will try my best to do all 40 so that people have got suggestions. I may not describe every book, that could take a long time. So yeah, go back and check last year's announcement if you like. It may be more coherent than this one. Every year I feel like I've got it down and I know exactly what I'm going to say, but because I try not to write notes and I just try to do it off memory, my memory isn't very good, and so I might have missed a big chunk out. But a lot of it again will be available on Twitter, Instagram. Any questions, ask me, and it might be better that way, and I'll answer what I can. I've lost my train of thought. I was in it then. Oh yeah, so go back and watch last year's announcement video, go back and watch last year's TBR, because there are 40 books there that may give you suggestions. Group book. There is a group book this year. Last year I picked a UK book because it mentioned Eurovision in it. It wasn't a big part of it. I don't know whether many people read it. There was only a couple of us, I think. This year, the group book is Around the World in 80 Days by Jules Verne, because it covers a few countries. Not all of them are European countries. I know they visit Paris in that. I know UK is mentioned in there. But I thought the fact that it's around the world in 80 days and it's different countries really backed up what we're trying to do in Eurovisionathon, is to read around different countries. So for the group book this year, there will be extra points. I haven't decided whether it's going to be 50 points or 100 points, but there will be an extra point incentive to read the group book. Just as a little extra element this year. Each year I like to make it a little bit different, but I don't want to change the whole way it works, because actually it's worked from the beginning this way. From me starting that first year just running it through my personal Twitter account, to last year running it with a specific Eurovisionathon Twitter account and having a Discord, which again I haven't mentioned. We have a Discord group. We use the Discord group to run the Eurovisionathon book club, but I'm going to leave it open and people can comment in there along during Eurovision. It can probably be a place to try and figure out buddy reads if you want to. Last year, for the host country, the Netherlands, a lot of us wanted to read The Miniaturist by Jessie Burton as our book, and actually that felt more like a group book, because there was maybe 6, 7, 8 of us who read that book together. We started a Twitter group message and we read that together. So I probably will set up a group buddy read for Around the World in 80 Days. And we can do that. But again, Discord can be a place where people can sort buddy reads, can let people know what they're reading for the different countries, can just enjoy that Eurovisionathon feel. And yeah, so I think that's everything. 40 countries, read as many books related to those different 40 countries as you can. 1 book per country. You can't read 3 books for Netherlands and get 3 lots of points that the Netherlands might get, for example, in the final. So it's 1 book per country. Again, no page count, but please try not to read a book with 25 pages and count that. But I'm not being overly harsh on that. I haven't got the time to spend going through each book. So the form for filling out to say which book you've read is basically what you would expect. The name of the book, the title. I would like you to put how it relates to that country, because quite often people will see a book on my countdown and say, oh, how does that relate to the country? And it's nice to be able to say, it relates to the country in this way. The country, in order for it to relate to that country, the author can be from that place. It can be set in that place. It doesn't wholly have to be set in that place. It might just, it might be a non-fiction where somebody travels through multiple places and that country is mentioned, but it does need to be mentioned, preferably more than just, oh, one day my friend went to Malta and then the story carries on. But yeah, we've had people, the settings there, the author was originally from there, the author is from there now. It just needs to relate to the country and in some way to get points for that country. So I think that's everything. Again, if there's any questions, let me know. I'm sorry this seemed chaotic again. I think I've mentioned everything. Last year I had Eurovision balloons. I've still got my flags. I got a lovely tote bag last year, official tote bag. I've still got it somewhere, the face mask. I bought a face mask for Eurovision. It was a fleecy one. It was very hot. I might have a look on the shop this year, but as I am trying to do more decluttering and live a bit more minimally, I'm trying my best not to buy things that I won't use again or don't bring purpose to my life. So I may look, I may buy, or maybe not. I mean, I do run this every year, so who knows. But yeah, I've started my journal. You can't really see it very well. It's basically written in biro, and I've started writing the books next to it. So you will see what I'm planning on reading in my TBR. But yeah, please come and join us. It is fun. If you read one book, that's one book towards Eurovisionathon, and you may well get some points, unless that country doesn't get into the final, and then you will get no points, unfortunately. But yeah, come and join us. Any book that is read works toward the readathon, and you have taken part. There's no pressure at all, and yeah, just have some fun, because that's what it's meant to be about. Like I said, I've been in a real reading slump recently for a long time. For that reason, I have not been doing my Scrabble TBR game. I've tried not to take part in many readathons, and I've been successful at that. I have been taking part in Roller Reads for March, but I've had to put an end to that after reading 4 or 5 books for it, because I wasn't feeling the other books I'd picked, and I want to just free read for a bit leading into Eurovisionathon. So I'm hoping for Eurovisionathon I'll get that surge back, but I think the support of the community and the fun element of it will help. Any books that I start reading that I'm not enjoying, I'm just going to DNF. What I will say is, if you DNF a book for a country, depending on how much you've read of the book, you can decide if it counts. I would rather you not read 10 pages and then say you've done that country. I think for that we would have to say you'd have to read over half. Read over half of the book, it counts for the readathon. If you've read under half, probably doesn't count. So yeah, but I try not to let there be too many rules for Eurovisionathon, because I don't want people to feel like it's pressured. I want people to enjoy it, and it's kind of been the people's readathon. We've kind of splashed ideas around, and for example, after the first year, somebody recommended a countdown, and so we've done that for the last 2 years, and it's worked really well. I always send out a Survey Monkey at the end of each round of Eurovisionathon to find out what people enjoyed and to incorporate it into the next one, and that's worked really well too. So I'm going to stop rambling. I hope there's enough information here for you to decide if you want to take part in Eurovisionathon or not. Again, any questions, let me know. I will list below the announcement video for last year, the TBR video from last year, all of the social media elements that you can go to. If you want to take part in the Discord, let me know and I'll send you the invite. I feel like that works better than just putting the invite out and letting lots of people join in. Because as much as I like that it's popular and people want to take part, I don't want to get overrun, and I don't want it just to be filled with a load of names and people not joining in. So yeah, let me know, and you are very welcome into the Discord. And I will list below the link to the Eurovision Song Contest contendees little picture, so that you can print it off and cross them off as you like, or you can cut them out and put them in your bullet journal. But please send across your TBRs, link them to the account on Twitter, on Instagram, use the hashtag Eurovisionathon. I'm dying to see them and I will share them so people can see them. I will start a playlist up on YouTube of the TBRs that are sent through. I don't know this year if there'll be spot prizes. The first year there were no prizes, we just did it for the fun of it, which was lovely. Last year I did a few spot prizes when I could afford it. But again, you know, this is just run off the enjoyment of it. So I haven't got a lot of money to spend on giving out gifts, but if the mood takes me and I find I've got a little spare cash, I may do a little prize at some point. Spot prizes works better because I think if you just do whoever wins the Readathon, you know, not everybody can read 40 books. Some people can, and that is a massive achievement and well done to those people, but not everybody can do that. So I wanted it to be that it could be that somebody read 3 books and they got a prize because the spread of the journal was really good, because I really enjoyed the TBR video, because they entered into the spirit of Eurovisionathon. And so I prefer spot prizes to a prize because you've got the most of this or the most of that. So yeah, I'm not promising spot prizes, but if the mood takes me and I've got the money at the time, I might well do. So yeah, sign up, enjoy, have fun, and I look forward to taking part in this readathon myself. And I will see you next time with my TBR. Goodbye.